Between the Batman and now the Penguin, Matt Reeves' Batman saga might just be my new favourite ongoing superhero cinematic universe because the Penguin was awesome. Straight away, I was surprised by the show's tone and execution. It's got the same grittiness as the Batman, but they take it further, and it's a full-blown rated R series. There's swearing, there's really bloody violence. It's a really mature show, which just, it always surprises me when studios actually take their comic book properties the extra mile, because I'm still in that mindset of superhero comic book adaptations being, you know, fluffy and entertaining and colourful and whatnot. So when things like The Penguin get made, it always feels really fresh within the genre. So big props to Warner Brothers for letting the showrunners make this dark and violent and gritty and dirty as it should have been. As for the story and plot, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Watching Oz the Penguin rise through the ranks of Gotham's underworld and scheming and manipulating, talking his way out of all these situations and playing all the crime families against each other, I just found it really entertaining. And Colin Farrell, just, oh my god, I know you've heard this a million times, but every single time he was on screen, I don't see Colin Farrell. It's insane. He disappears into this part, and it's not just makeup, it's genuinely a great performance from Colin Farrell. The mannerisms, the voice, everything, he just absolutely crushes it. And something that I really appreciate that they did with this show is that they kept the Penguin as a villain. Because you know when villains get their own films or their own series and they try to make them sympathetic and relatable, and you know, they're actually not that bad, they're just misunderstood. Not the Penguin. Not the Penguin one bit. He is an evil, despicable, horrible human being. Really hit home by that last episode. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Colin Farrell said he'd be really surprised if anybody found Oz likable after that last episode. I understand why. Holy shit. But it was refreshing. It was really, really refreshing to have a show based on a villain where they're actually a villain the entire time. You do have your sympathetic bad guy character in this in the form of Sophia Falcon, and when you see her backstory in episode 4, holy shit, that was messed up. What Carmine Falcone, her dad, did to her, put her in Arkham for 10 years because she was getting into his business and getting close to finding out that he was actually the hangman. Wow, really messed up backstory. But once you see that, you totally understand where she's coming from in burning down the Falcone crime family, killing all the Falcones with the gas leak in the mansion. That was awesome. And I really liked her character because she's trying to run the operation in a different style to her dad, but then she realizes she's doing the exact same stuff her dad was doing, and she's trying to change her ways, but she's still a bad person because of what she's doing in order to accomplish that goal. She was an interesting character, a complex character. I liked the character very much, and the actress who played her, whose name I cannot remember because I'm pathetic and worthless, she did a great job as well. Speaking of backstory, let's go back to Oz and talk about how horrible of a human being he is, because they briefly mention his brothers a couple of times. You know, his mum comes in and mentions his brothers, and I thought it was just going to be like a gang war that killed him or something. Yeah, not the case. Oz killed them, pretty much, when he was a kid, locking them in that thing inside the sewers and letting them drown to death because he wanted his mum's attention all to himself. And he just shows no remorse for it. He just goes about his day, making his mum breakfast and just being a kid. And I'm just like, wow. Again, I'm just really glad they didn't try to make him misunderstood. I liked the connective tissue they had with the Batman as well. It starts pretty much immediately after the events of the film, so the city is still recovering from the flood that the Riddler caused, and you still see the damages everywhere, the streets are still soaking wet, and I really enjoyed how pretty much the entirety of the show took place in the rundown parts of Gotham. And if the Batman did not confirm it already, the Penguin absolutely confirms that this might just be my favourite on-screen version of Gotham so far. Just the rundown nature of it, the oppressed poor people, the rich people getting rich. It's such a really rich environment for superhero storytelling in that dark, gritty kind of way. I love this version of Gotham that Matt Reeves has created. And you know it's a great fictional universe when you start theorising about villains and storylines that they could adapt into this world. I'm thinking of characters and villains I'd like to see get their own shows like The Penguin. I'd love to see a Two-Face series or a Black Mask series, or just thinking of other characters that could fit into this Matt Reeves universe like the Calendar Man and maybe Victor Zsasz if they're going to keep it in that kind of crime detective aspect of the main Batman films. Like I said, probably my favourite comic book based cinematic universe, just 2 projects in.